Today I'm doing Brandon Sanderson's very, very late night writing routine. I mean, like 2 a.m. What you need to know about me is that I write best in the morning, like early morning. First of all, who's Brandon Sanderson? I'm so glad you asked. He is the author of these books, The Stormlight Archive. He's the author of these books, Mistborn. He's a wildly prolific writer. Besides writing a lot of books, he writes really thick books. I'm having trouble, like, literally just handling this book. He penned and edited this. So, a guy who's gonna write books that thick, he's gotta have a killer writing routine, right? He's got to. So, I'm gonna try it out. Another thing to note about Brandon Sanderson is he's one of my absolute favorite authors to go to for writing advice. He has an entire class that he puts on the internet. It's a lecture series from BYU where he talks about creative writing, and I reference him all the time. The stuff that he talks about is just so fundamental to writing well, and nobody else talks about them in quite the same way. Check this out. I literally have a signed copy from him. Look at his handwriting. For Meredith, happy birthday. I've been reading Brandon Sanderson and following him and his writing craft tips for a long time. But the guy is a night owl, and I am not. So what are we gonna do about that? We're gonna become a night owl for a single day. Okay, let's talk about Brandon Sanderson's actual routine and what I'm going to be doing today. The idea is that he wakes up pretty late, like around noon, and starts writing very shortly after he wakes up. So he does 2 4-hour blocks of time, one kind of in that midday and one later in the evening. So after that, like 4 or 5 p.m., he spends time with family and friends, hangs out, has a good time, eats dinner, that kind of stuff. And then he has a second 4-hour block until like 1 to 2 a.m. And then he plays video games until 4 a.m. So, what I adore about Brandon Sanderson's writing routine is that 4 hours is actually scientifically the perfect amount of time for your brain to do deep work in a block session. And I feel like it's going to be the perfect situation for me. The only problem with it is the timing of the day in which I will be doing these sessions. So his goals are like 2,000 words a day written if he's drafting, or like 10 pages editing if he's editing. Actually, I just posted this video, which is going to talk about where I am in my process. I'm like right there. So I'm doing a big revision. It's draft 4. I'm on chapter 33 today. I have to rewrite the entire Big All Is Lost event. It's all different. And so my goal is like 2,000 words, but like if I don't get 2,000 words in just the first session, I'll be confused. I'm going to shoot for finishing chapter 33 within the first session, and then chapter 34 within the next session. Right now it's like 12:45, so my goal is to start writing at 1 o'clock in about 10 minutes. Okay, let's write a book. Okay, it's like 4:10 and I wanted to do a check-in. I finished chapter 33. I finished totally drafting it from the ground up. In some ways, I'm very proud of this chapter. In other ways, I'm like, what happened? For some reason, it was really, really hard to get into writing today. So I've only been working for 3 hours and I wrote 2,400 words, and then I went back and edited it down to 2,150 words. I panned something that I'm very excited about. So I was like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have a crossover episode in this chapter, and the side characters of one protagonist are going to help the other protagonist with their goal in this chapter. And it was so fun. I have about an hour left. I have until 5:15. So I'm going to, what am I going to do for the next hour? I think I'm just going to start drafting chapter 34. This, I know this is like trash coffee, but it makes my brain just zoom. So I'm going to have this now so that hopefully this can carry me through my later writing session. Okay, let's go. The last hour is over. It is like 5:30, and I'm gonna quit now for my evening session of just hanging out, being a human. In that last hour, I wrote 710 words of chapter 34. I got to the point of mental exhaustion, like right kind of at like the 4 hour and 15-minute mark. I've stopped right in the middle of something really tense, and so I would love to get back to it, but just not this second. Hopefully the tennis courts are open, so let's go do that. Ready to enter a championship. Okay, it's 9:30 p.m. I think it might actually be a little bit later. So it's almost 10 o'clock, almost time to start the next writing session. So I have done a few things since we last chatted. I have played tennis, as you saw. Made dinner, ate dinner, watched TV with my husband. It was actually anime. I said TV just to be mainstream. It was anime, and it was a good time. And then obviously I took a shower, so we are a bit of a wet rat right now. But that is the perfect state to write in. And that coffee I had earlier, I'm still going as fast as a rocket right now, so I'm ready. It's gonna be fun to watch my hair dry throughout this video. Okay, so what are our goals for the next 4 hours? I can't believe I'm starting a 4 hour writing session. It's worth it for Brandon and for my book, to be honest. I'm hoping that this is really gonna be the writing session that like really locks me in because I do better writing in the middle of the night than in the afternoon. When everybody else is moving around, they're walking their dogs out there, they're going to the park, they're going to the pool. I don't know where they're going, but I want to go there too. And so when I'm just stuck in here all day, watching them go about, I'm like, oh, I feel so left out of the world. That's why I'm really looking forward to this night session, is because my brain finally feels like it can actually hone in and concentrate. So, what are we going to do? Well, after writing 710 words of chapter 34, I now need to finish chapter 34. That's the only goal that I have for the entirety of this writing session. But there is so much I need to engineer here. This is like it's a thinker. Okay, let us write chapter 34. So it's 11. I'm feeling a bit tired for sure, but my mind is alive and buzzing. So my brain is good to keep going, but my body is like, "Hey, is it not bedtime?" I'm confused. So that's to be expected. We're just going to push through. So, okay, what's going on here is that basically I haven't gotten a whole lot further. It's been like an hour, but I have been working steadily. Like my face and my hands been over here. It's a tricky chapter. There's just a lot that I need to sort out information wise. It's just like a big mental task to figure out right now that is just even much different from just writing any old chapter. And then scene wise, I'm also working on something that is tricky where I need like a trigger point moment for the character to like launch into action, and I haven't quite found that. I know that I will. Like I'll come back in 20 minutes and be like, we got it. It's perfect. It's like the hard work where it's like if you think about it, if you're like facing it, you're like, how am I possibly going to make this work? You have no clue. But then you sit down and you do it, and in hindsight, you're like, yeah, I don't understand how that happened. That's what we need to do right now. Okay, I'm going to get back to work on this. Okay, it's 1:14. I just finished my final writing session. So that went from 9:30 until 1:14. So that's almost 4 hours. That's like exactly like perfectly within Brandon Sanderson's typical time frame. Honestly, I had such a good night. I had a wonderful writing session. I finished all of chapter 34 and I worked out everything like I said I would. You know what's funny is that I had been looking for like that trigger to like jumpstart the action. And I literally, after I finished filming, went and sat down and looked at my computer and realized that I had already figured it out. Like it was already there. And I was like, oh, cool. Alrighty, let's go. It will need some tweaking, but I really like it, honestly. I love it. And then I even went on and edited the next chapter a little bit. Like I did a run through. And that one's actually pretty good. So it's not going to need a whole lot of work. Yeah, so that means I edited chapter 33, 34, and 35 today. The full word count for chapter 34 is 2,570 words. So combine that with writing 2,400 words in the last chapter, that's about 5K that I wrote today. These days, because of my developmental revisions, I haven't even been keeping track of anything with word count. I'm just like, I need to get this chapter written. I need to get the work done. I need to move through the draft. But like when you actually add the words up, it's like, okay, that's a significant amount of words. Just to be very true to Brandon Sanderson's writing routine here, since he typically plays video games from, he said, like 2 to 4, I have been really into Minecraft. I know that's hilarious. I haven't played it in like 10 years. And the other day I was like, what would be super fun? Minecraft. So I downloaded it and I have been playing it for the past like 3 days with my husband. We're just gonna chill out and play some Minecraft for the rest of the night and then I'm gonna knock out. So I'll put a clip of that in, but I do want to end the video here. Okay, some closing thoughts. So something I love about this writing routine, as I said from the outset, was the deep work sessions. The deep work sessions work really, really well with my brain chemistry. So the structure of his writing sessions is really good for me. Obviously, what is less good for me as like a person, as like a thing that I could do all the time, is the timing. Afternoons are I don't love. I didn't get amazing work done in the afternoon. I was really productive though, so work is work, honestly. Something else I noticed with the afternoon session is that usually I just wake up and start, right? But because I woke up at 10, where Brandon Sanderson usually wakes up at noon, I had that buffer zone of like thinking about it and like anticipating it that made it really hard to get into the writing session. So basically, the afternoon writing session is Brandon Sanderson's morning writing session. So he's basically doing the exact same thing that I am. His circadian rhythm is just different, right? So when he wakes up, he goes straight into writing. And so I'm like, okay, we get each other on that level. It's just the when we wake up is different. The nighttime writing is definitely better than the afternoon, but I still way, way, way prefer mornings because I'm fresh. In the evening here, like this was a great writing session. It was really nice, but I did really start to flag around like 11:30. I was like, ooh, I can tell my energy is dropping. As a break from my normal writing routine, this was really, really, really nice. And so I think if you are a person who loves to stay up late, this is kind of like the perfect writing routine. If you can write full time, right? Like if you can't write full time if you have a job, this is not a good writing routine. But if you're a full time author who is a night owl, this is like the ideal for getting a lot of work done. Like this is a full work day. Okay, well, this was a fun experiment, a fun day dedicated to writing and making really, really good progress in this draft and getting through, honestly, probably the trickiest section of my entire book. The rest of it is gonna be easy peasy from here on. So, this was a win of a day. So, thank you to Brandon Sanderson for having a fun writing routine that I could try. Okay, I'm gonna go play some video games. Have a good night. So, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me try out Brandon Sanderson's writing routine. I had a good time. Let me know in the comments below if you're a night owl or a morning bird in terms of writing routine, which one you like best. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and also subscribe to see more writing craft content and also writing routine stuff, writing process stuff. Yeah, it's a fun time over here, so subscribe if that appeals to you, and I will see you in another video. Bye. 217 in true Brandon Sanderson fashion, and we are just beginning the Minecraft journey. I am in a giant mine shaft. I'm trying to get home. How do I get there? I think I'm lost. In this game, we decided to be dwarves and build our first starter home right smack in the middle of the cave system. Here, I'll show you. We also pillaged a village, not very classy of us, but we did get some carpets, so I think it was worth it in the end. Okay, we just finished playing and yep, it's almost 4 a.m. Right on schedule with Brandon Sanderson's writing routine. So I would call this a routine well followed.